afternoon. Thank you for joining NetSuite Sales Margin Tracker webinar. My name is Chris. I'm a NetSuite consultant at Nolan, and I have the pleasure today to chair this presentation. The aim of today's session is to present an automated solution for resellers who need to calculate sales margin in order to pay commissions to their sales representatives. During the whole presentation, I assume you already have a working knowledge with NetSuite. If this is not the case, at the end I will present some materials and ways to bring your knowledge and skills up to speed with the system. On the attendees list, I see some old friends. Hello to you then, and we will start your presentation. What I will be showing today, I will run through corporate overview very quickly, just a little about NetSuite, its history, and what are its key differentiators in the market. Then I will present what is this webinar really about, so what is the business scenario and business challenge to record the proper sales margin and to calculate the commission. How you may deal with this without our solution, so all the manual workarounds to calculate the commissions. And then I will present the solution itself, so the automated reports, and we will simulate the standard sales process as well as add a little bit complex scenarios with multiple sales representatives or with customer refunds, as well as handling some additional cost of sales. Finally, I will speak a little bit about further sales process enhancement, so how to see automatically the vendors' availability of products and the prices in real time. We will finish with some summary and some question session at the end. Okay, first, who are NetSuite? They are world #1 cloud ERP vendor. They were founded in 1998 with the sole purpose of delivering a business system which is accessible anywhere in the cloud, on the internet. Right now, they employ over 3,000 employees worldwide. The system is used by over 30,000 organizations. And as you can see by just a selection of the customers on the right-hand side, they've got a very diverse customer base. So what that means? It's a very adaptable system, which can be used by all organizations, regardless of its size, industry, or other characteristics. The system is also 100% true cloud, which means it's accessible anytime, anywhere, and on any device. And it's not a sole premise system that is hosted on the server somewhere and is accessible only within the network. The data above are supposed to show that NetSuite is growing significantly in the last years. And this is because the system has many unique features, as for example, accessibility, rich ERP and CRM features, flexibility. And all of those are very appealing to its customers. Okay, why we have this session today? Because many of our customers contacted us to help them with the enormous administrative challenge to calculate the correct sales margin value and pay the proper commission to their sales reps. This may seem simple for you, but as we go through the presentation, I will show you the associated problems and time-consuming activities. First, let's discuss the challenge. Depending on the size and complexity of your business, you may have a couple or 100 sales representatives, each selling many transactions each month, from which any transaction will generate revenue as well as cost for the business. Revenue side in NetSuite is quite nice reflected, as every sales transaction will have sales rep field, which help to assign the revenue to the proper sales rep. The problem begins with the cost side, as purchase orders and supplier invoices are not assigned to sales representatives, and therefore are not that easy to link to sales transactions. Without this link, you cannot calculate the real sales margin on the transaction and pay the sales representative the fair portion of their commission. Okay, let's assume you are approaching the month end. The standard time you are calculating sales margins for each representative and based on which you pay them appropriate commission amount. Basically, as you will see on your screen now, you start with the empty worksheet. Then you need to work out the proper data here. So it means for each sales rep, you will need to extract out of NetSuite the sales transactions, Then you will need to extract from NetSuite all the purchase transactions and manually assign them to the previous extracted sales transactions. Then finally you can calculate the sales margin, and then you need to repeat this process again and again for each representative and make all the amendments. After you finish the process, you may end with something like this. To fill all the information here, remember there are for each representative separately, and to validate, it may take you a long time. Dependent on the volume and complexity of transaction you have in your business, this process of entering, validating, and correcting the data will take days or even weeks. Remember, you need to do it again for each sales rep separately and also validating separately. I'm not even talking here about the joint import sales, which you need to appropriate portion between the sales representatives, which creates additional process complexity. Also, during data processing time, there will be some transaction corrections, customer returns, and then you will never end up with 100% correct data. This is usually happening in the real life, and you may accept this. However, what you really shouldn't accept is the time wasted into preparing an endless validation of these Excel spreadsheets, often called red books. This is not adding any value to your business, only taking the key stuff out from the revenue bringing activities and generate additional costs for you. Okay, so now assume you know the manual process, and we'll present you what will happen if you have the Nolan Sales Margin Tracker installed on your NetSuite account, and we will simulate the month and process of sales margin calculation in this scenario. Let's see now how it will look from your perspective if you will have our solution. Okay, you see now on your screen the standard NetSuite dashboard, and here you have the NBS sales margin report. You see that straight away after entering the system, you have the sales margin values calculated for each sales representative. For example, you have here the period, for which sales rep, what is the total revenue number, what are the costs associated from the purchases with those revenues, and what is the margin associated with each sales rep. So what does it mean? That you do not start as previously with a blank piece of paper, but already at start you already have the up-to-date report, which you can use to calculate and pay commissions for your sales reps. Instead of entering the data, you can spend time reviewing the results and building your sales strategy. The report is drillable, so only with a couple of clicks you can drill to all the transactions here. For example, if I would like to review the transaction for Chris for Jan 2017, I can only click at this button here, and then I will see there was only one transaction for this month for the sales rep. But I can go even more into details here. I can go into the individual transaction and review the invoice which was sent to our customer here. I can review all the information, see all the data here. If I would need to do some corrections, I can do it straight away here as well. And the report on the main dashboard will be automatically refreshed. So let's say I would like to change the sales rep associated to this transaction because there was an error made here, and let's say it was not Chris who made this transaction, but it was Caroline. After I will save this transaction, I will go to my dashboard, refresh the report, and I see automatically the transaction have been assigned to Caroline and all the data here have been updated. This is automatically, so you need to go to your worksheet, look for the information, correct this. If many people are involved, you need to communicate with them and then check the result of the work. Everything is done here automatically. Apart from the main report here, which presents the revenue data, costs, and margins, you have also the report. I will refresh it for you as well. The report is really nice because it compares the sales margins earned by each sales rep. So it enables you to review the real-time performance and also to introduce the internal competition within the company. So for example, here you see that David is the leading sales rep within the company, and the second place has Caroline. You can see other people as Tom and Caroline as well, and then you can also take some actions here if you would like also to increase their profitability as well. Okay. Okay. So let's go now to the practical sales process simulation. We will build up a business scenario and then we will follow the steps. Let's say we have a customer calling us who would like to order 10 of our best-selling laptops. How we will record this transaction? We will record this transaction using the drop shipment, which means that the item will be sent directly from your vendor to your customer and will not be processed into the inventory. This means that this will streamline your inventory by keeping your low inventory and also by reducing the order to deliver cycle time. Basically, we noticed that some resellers now are not storing their goods in their offices because they don't have any storage area there as well. So this basically enables you to optimize your processes. In NetSuite, you can either set items to dropship by default or manually change it later on the sales orders. When the sales order is approved, a purchase order is automatically generated. This means that two transactions are linked and generated automatically. All the details are copied automatically from the linked sales order to purchase order, and depending on your preference, also the correspondence with the vendors. So for example, some printing, emailing, or faxing can happen automatically as well. So very little effort from your side is required in this respect. Okay, now we will record quickly this transaction. Let's assume you are still on the phone with the customer and you would like to record the sales order. You are opening a new sales order here. You would like the sales order will be for Chris' customer, which we will use for purpose of this demonstration. This will be in February, in today. And the status, based on your business processes, you may have some approval in place. When your supervisor needs to review the sales order and approve before submission. For the purpose of this demonstration, we will approve them straight away. Now, the sales transaction is automatically assigned to Chris. We can change it here, or we can leave it as well. We'll leave it in this instance. And now what we are selling. As we discussed, we are selling 10 laptops. So we are putting the product name here. As we see, the system will automatically copy all the information. So the default pricing for this product, the default costs, and the preferred vendor. This drop shipment here is telling us the system will automatically create a purchase order and maybe send it to the vendor if required. If we are not happy with some of the information here, or maybe would like to change something, for example, we would like to assign a special price for a customer. We agreed on kind of promotion during the sale. We can do it here as well, and then the system will automatically amend all the data. Okay. Now we will save the third order. After the saving the purchase order, the system will automatically create the linked purchase order, and if appropriate, send it to our vendor directly, as we see those two transactions created here. Let's open those two transactions in the new Windows. This is the purchase order. Remember, we haven't created this document. It was created automatically for us. We see all the information have been copied automatically from the sales order we created. So we see the product name, we see the quantity, the pricing as well. What's more, the vendor received also the customer address. So it will send it automatically not to our office, but to the customer directly. And this is basically great benefit of the drop shipment here. In the real case scenario, after the vendor will tell us the goods have been already shipped, we can mark shipment here. And then the system will create automatically the document. It will also copy all the data across. So if we agree with everything here, we can save. Then we can reflect the changes on the sales order as they are linked, and we will refresh it. We see the status will change to pending billing. This means that basically the goods have been already sent to the customer, and we can create an invoice. We can either create the invoice in stages or invoice the total sales order, which we'll be doing in this instance. Okay, the system will create the invoice. Again, we'll copy all the information. So we can, if we agree with all of this, we only need to click the save here. The system automatically also knows what is the purchase cost, what is the margin value, and what is the margin, 33% in this case, for this transaction. We agree with this, with all the information here, so we click the save button, and the invoice will be automatically generated. As well as generating the invoice, NetSuite will automatically post this invoice. We can review this result in the general impact here. So we see already the transaction has been recorded, on which accounts, and which amount. In the traditional accounting, after creating the invoices, we need to print them, code them, and then put them manually into the system. NetSuite will do everything automatically for us. So there's no additional administration here required. Okay. Now if we will come back to our main dashboard, we see that this transaction has been automatically recorded within the report here. The revenue of 9,000 with the margin of 3,000 assigned to Chris in February 2017. So those are real up-to-date data. In the time we save the transaction will appear on the record. There is no time-consuming updates on the worksheet coming back during the corrections. Everything is up to date within the one system, one report here. Okay. What's more? This was the basic sales process simulation. Let's do it a little bit more complex. Let's assume there's some joint effort during the sales process. So there are various people responsible for the sales, and each of these people should also have their proper portion of margin and commission paid. This situation can be also handled here, and this is also pretty easy. Let's record separate sales order and follow the steps required. Okay, if we go to the transactions, to the sales, enter the sales order. In this situation, we will do the sales order for Koch, Koch data customer here. We will do it for December to have better visibility on the report, but you can choose whatever date you would like to. And again, we will approve it straight away to avoid time with this demonstration. Now, if we are going to the sales team, we see that this customer, Koch data, has already assigned the standard structure of sales representatives. So 50% of the margin will be assigned to Chris, 30% to David, and 20% will be assigned to Tom. If we want, we can assign those percentages here. We can add new sales rep responsible. We have full flexibility, but we will leave the default settings here. Again, we will be selling the Dell laptops, but this time let's say the quantity will be 5. Okay, we will leave here the standard price, and we can save the transaction. Again, the purchase order will be automatically generated out of this transaction without our intervention here, and we will open those two transactions quickly. This is the purchase order, again generated for those three things. let's say in the shipping address, we currently have the ship to the second customer address. So currently we replace Bournemouth with Southampton. It's still delivering it straight to the customer, not to our office here. We will again make shipped here. We go to the sales order, refresh the status here, and also build the whole amount. We will build again for December to see the data more precise for demonstration. Now coming back to our main dashboard, after refreshing, we see here then 3 new transactions appear for December. We can open them again, drill down a little bit. We see that the total of the invoice we had here, 5,500, have been splitted through 3 sales reps, and also the margin has been splitted. So in this situation, using our solution here, even if the transaction will be assigned to many sales reps, the result will be automatically displayed here. If you need to do it manually, imagine how much work will be required in order to later validate it and reconcile it back to general ledger, each representative with some percentage assignment. Please believe me, it's a lot of work. Okay, now let's go a little bit further with the process here. And let's see, the customer received those 5 laptops, but let's say 1 laptop was faulty and the customer would like to return it. Our business processes tell us that if the customer returns the good, then the margin for the sales rep should be also appropriately amended. We won't pay margin based on products which haven't been really sold, but are returned here. Okay? So now if we will go to the invoice that was generated previously, and we will click this one button, Authorize Return, we will go through the process of authorization of the return, if the process is required by our company. If it's not required, we can simply pause the credit to the sale. Customer is bringing then 1 laptop, so we are only authorizing the return of 1 piece of device. We save the transaction here. After this laptop has been received to us, we also would like to receive the item here, because in this moment in time we will take the laptop to our office or to our warehouse, because the customer will need to send it somewhere. On the other side, we can send it to a vendor, but in this situation we will decide to send it to our office here. So we will need here to tell the system we are receiving the device, and we can save this transaction. And the location, we will need to tell to which location we are receiving here, to the warehouse in Guildford, let's say. Now, coming back to the return authorization, we can decide how we will process it from the customer side. Let's say we will offer the customer a refund here. Now, this step is pretty important, because basically this refund should be also splitted through our sales reps. Each sales rep should be assigned a proper portion of this one. We will record this transaction for March to see the effect separately on our report. We have a lot of options, because we have here a sales effective date. We can report the transaction one date, but the effect we would like to say on different date. So, for example, if the original transaction was in December, or we can still see the effect of this in December. Let's say if we agree with all the basic information we have here, only the location again needs to be filled. We can save it. Okay. Now coming back to our report, we should see 3 more records for March. as we see here, with negative amounts as well. So this means the system already reduced margins for our sales rep by the amount of the customer return. Also, if you will update the report as well here, we will see those transactions here. So those manual adjustments in the system are pretty time consuming. So if they can be done automatically, as you can see, it's really avoiding wasting a lot of time for you. Additionally, if there are any additional cost of sales related to those transactions, so for example, for this return authorization, there were some shipping costs of shipping the goods back to your office or warehouse. Those costs can be also associated with the transaction and reduce the sales margin of the sales reps. This can be also handled automatically within the solution. Okay. Until this moment in time, we concentrated on calculation and use of the sales margin. However, the potential automation of the sales processes may go much farther. At Nolan, we developed other solutions as well, which may further decrease the wasted time spent on administering and selling process itself. If you are, for example, IT reseller, which means that you sell and buy big amounts of products, need to update constantly changing product catalog, and before commit any transaction, you need to check upfront the availability and prices of required products. We have something for you. And all of the above steps can be done automatically. That means the system will always have the updated catalog of products and the most up-to-date prices and availability of products for each supplier. Receiving the order online or over the phone by your sales rep, and they will have instantly access to this information on the NetSuite screen without opening supplier websites or making any phone calls. The solution will also streamline the purchase, delivery, and financial processes within your and your suppliers. Those will be automatically recorded by the system without manual admin intervention. Having this in place, your company will further streamline your processes and concentrate on value-adding activities, which is selling the products to your customers and not various related administrative tasks. Okay, let's consider a very quick demonstration here. I will log to a different NetSuite account where this product is installed. Okay, now we will create one more sales order the same way we did previously. The sales order will be created for a customer, electric, here. Okay. We will approve the sales order straight away. The customer will be buying our laptop specs. And the amount of, let's say 2. And now, the big benefit. The previous screens we have, the information was stored within the system. Currently, we have one button here. After we click this, we will have the real data of the availability of this product and prices in all our suppliers here. Okay, let's click on this. The system is now asking the suppliers for the price and availability. And now we see that the 2 vendors are selling this product, Tech Data and West Coast. We have the current price, £20 and £22 here, and the availability. Currently we see that no of this vendor has this product, but this available to purchase date for Tech Data is telling us we can order this product on the 17th of February. And then all this information will be available straight away for a sales rep. So on the call with your customer, he can check in the real time and then tell the customer agree with the customer on the price, on the condition, etc. Yeah, it's very handy and it's really sparing a lot of time. Okay, this solution, what we see here, it's called Interact. It's called for automatic interaction with your suppliers. And if you require more information about it, please contact us, and we will be more than happy to provide those for you. With this, we are about to finish our presentation. A couple of final remarks and a summary. About some NetSuite tools. So if you're not that familiar with NetSuite, you can update your knowledge very quickly using the training videos or how feature with NetSuite. Or you can ask our Nolan to provide some trainings for you as well, or develop some solutions. About the summary, what we discussed today, we concentrated mainly on the sales margin tracking within the system. I presented you the automatic solution when the system will calculate the sales margin automatically for you, and how you can use the solution with various business scenarios. Altogether also with some complex scenarios with multiple sales reps or with customer returns or handling additional costs. I also showed you the product which enables you to see the real-time availability and prices of the product of the items in NetSuite you are selling. Okay. If you have any questions now, you can share them with us. If you don't have them now, no problem. You can send them over the email, and then we will be happy to reply. Okay. I see there are no questions as for now, so I would like to thank you for your attention. I wish you still a nice evening and weekend in a couple of days, and see you on the next occasion. Thank you. Bye.